Welcome to worship with Eliot Unitarian Chapel. I am the Reverend Barbara Gadon, and I am delighted to serve as your lead minister. We're so glad you're here. If you are new to our community, we offer you a special welcome. We are an intentionally inclusive community which welcomes all races, creeds, economic situations, genders, sexual orientations, and all kinds of families. I hope that this is a service that nourishes your spirit. If you'd like to know more about us, please look for information at the end of the service. And welcome to Eliot Chapel. This summer, we are cooperating with 9 other Unitarian Universalist congregations across the country in creating UU Summer Worship at the Movies. We started the series with Back to the Future, exploring themes of time travel and immortality. Other services will offer favorites like Star Wars, The Last Jedi, and The Shawshank Redemption. I hope you'll join us for this series, Movies and Worship, 2 for 1.
I am the Reverend William Levwood. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tallahassee. Wherever you are, this service is coming to you from Tallahassee, from the ancestral lands of the Appalachee, Muskogee, and Seminole peoples. Welcome to this special service, part of a UU Summer at the Movies, where we will look at the movie Frozen 2 as a sacred text. I hope you have your popcorn just the way you like it, and that you'll bring a courageous heart and a commitment to collective liberation as we journey together. If you're a newcomer, I extend to you an especially warm welcome. I hope you find in this community, in this Unitarian Universalist movement, a place of rest and renewal, a space for learning and growing, and a people committed to justice and compassion. We begin by lifting up the wisdom of Octavia E. Butler, speaking through the voice of Lauren Olamina, reminding us that all that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. And we lift up wisdom from the movie Frozen 2, speaking through the voice of Olaf and Anna, reminding us that some things never change. Come, journey with us. Together, may we do the next right thing.
Hi friends! I'm Helen and this is Henry, and we have a chalice lighting for you this morning from James Villa Blake. This is the one that we use in RE here at UUCT most often.
I think I can't do it. I'm a little scared.
It's okay. I'll say the words. You can help me light the chalice. Good idea? Ready? Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its ministry. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Blessed be. Thank you, friend. Thank you, friends.
I'm going to invite you to join me on There's a River Flowin' in My Soul. You all know this, but we've got the words in the chat. There's a river flowing in my soul that repeats. It's telling me that I'm somebody, right? And then the second verse, there's an ocean rising in my heart. There's an ocean rising in my heart. It's telling me that we are one body. There's an ocean rising in my heart. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's an ocean. There's an ocean rising in my heart. There's an ocean rising in my heart, and it's telling me we are one body. There's an ocean rising in my heart.
Hi, friends. I'm Mix Helen. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tallahassee. Our story today is about a little person named Sam. Sam was having a rough day. They had a whole lot of problems, and all of their problems seemed to be happening all at once. It was like a big, tangled mess of problems, and Sam didn't know how to start untangling it. First of all, the tire on their bike was flat, so they couldn't ride bikes with their friend Emily. They slept wrong, and their hair was all messy. They couldn't find their lucky quarter. Their dog had chewed up a roll of paper towels, and the pieces were all over the room. Their sister was wearing the shirt that they wanted to wear, and they really needed a snack. Sam didn't know what to do. All of these problems were happening all at once, and they were overwhelmed. Sam sat down on the floor of their bedroom and started to cry. Their mother heard them and knocked gently on the door. Sam, what's going on? Why are you crying? Sam took a deep breath and tried to explain. My bike and my hair and my quarter and the paper towels and I'm hungry, Sam exclaimed, and they burst into tears again. Sam's mother took them into her arms and held them as they cried. After a few minutes, she said, "That's a whole lot of stuff going on for such a little person." Sam nodded. "It's too much for one person to handle, especially all at once." Sam nodded again. "So why don't we try to just do the next right thing?" "The next right thing?" Sam sniffled. "Yeah, let's find one place to start and we'll do one thing at a time. What do you think your most important problem is right now?" "I don't know. They all feel important." "I know they do. Maybe we should start with lunch. It'll be hard to work on any of our other problems on an empty stomach. What do you think?" "Yeah, lunch seems like the next right thing." So Sam and their mother went to the kitchen and made lunch. A peanut butter sandwich with apple slices, Sam's favorite. "Now, after lunch, what do you think is the next right thing?" Sam's mother asked them. Sam thought about it. Their hair was still a mess. Their sister was still wearing the shirt they wanted to wear. Their room was still covered in shredded paper towels, and their bike tire was still flat. It was still a lot to handle. "I need to get dressed," they eventually said, and do something with my hair. That does sound like the next right thing. Why don't you take a shower and I will bring you something to wear? Sam agreed that was a good idea, so they finished their lunch and then went to take a shower. They felt a lot better after their shower, and their mom was even able to find them a shirt they liked even better than the one their sister was wearing. This day was starting to get better. After Sam was dressed, Sam and Mom picked up all the pieces of shredded paper towels together and put them in the recycling. And while they were cleaning up, Sam found their lucky quarter on the floor. "Look!" Sam exclaimed. "I found my quarter. Now my only problem is the flat tire on my bike." "Wow! You untangled that whole mess of problems. You must be so proud of yourself," Mom replied. And she was right. Sam couldn't believe how much better they felt. "I am proud of myself," Sam said, "and I think the next right thing is for us to blow up the tire on my bike. Can you help me?" "Absolutely." "What do you think the next right thing is after that?" Well, I think for me it will be to do some work on the computer and then start making dinner. What about you?" "I think it will be to go meet up with Emily so we can ride our bikes together. But I'm not sure after that." "That's okay," Mom replied. "You don't have to know everything, just the next right thing." The end.
Tierra, mi cuerpo, agua, mi sangre, aire, mi aliento y fuego, mi espíritu. Tierra, mi cuerpo, agua, mi sangre, aire, mi aliento y fuego, mi espíritu. Tierra, mi cuerpo, agua, mi sangre, aire,
Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel your feet on the ground. Bring your awareness to your breath. This meditation comes from Vietnamese Zen Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh and the community at Plum Village. We begin by breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, we take in this moment. Breathing out, we smile to this moment. Breathing in, present moment. Breathing out, wonderful moment. Breathing in, we acknowledge the fire element within our bodies. The warmth and heat. Breathing out, we smile to the fire element in our body. Breathing in, fire. Breathing out, smiling to the fire. Breathing in, we bring our attention to the water, the blood flowing through our veins. Breathing out, we smile to the water element in our bodies. Breathing in, aware of water. Breathing out, smiling to the water. Breathing in, we bring our awareness to the earth, the soil, and the minerals in our body. Breathing out, we smile to the earth element in our body. Breathing in, aware of earth. Breathing out, smiling to the earth. Breathing in, we're aware of oxygen that we share with the other beings of the earth. Breathing out, we smile to the air element. Breathing in, aware of the air. Breathing out, smiling to the air. Breathing in, we give gratitude to these elements. Breathing out, we make a vow to use these elements within our bodies and in the world for healing, for harmony, for justice and compassion. Breathing in all the sustenance and gratitude that we receive from the elements of the earth, the air, the water, the fire that fill our bodies. Breathing out, we use these elements for healing, harmony, justice, and compassion. May it be so.
Every month, we give away half of our Sunday offering to an organization that shares our values at Eliot Chapel. Our congregation is passionate about immigration justice. We voted to become a sanctuary congregation, and we have sponsored an asylum seeker. That's why I'm so pleased that the Migrant and Immigrant Community Action Project is our June Share Play partner. MICA serves low-income immigrants through legal services, organizing, advocacy, and education to promote the voice and human dignity of immigrant communities.
I co-founded the MICA project with Jessica Mayo in 2011, and we were able to start operations when we graduated from Washington University Law School in 2012. The mission of the MICA project is to work with low-income immigrants to overcome barriers to justice.
I think the thing that sticks out to me the most about MICA's mission is that we aim to work alongside our clients in their legal case, and that we provide a holistic approach to legal representation.
The Client Support Services Department has 3 major functions. We navigate available resources with clients out in the community. We work with them to write their affidavits or trauma narratives for their legal case, and we engage in interdisciplinary work, so partnering with physicians, with academics, with therapists to improve services.
As someone that has gone through the immigration process and that still has loved ones who are in immigration limbo, I know firsthand how hard it can be to find access to quality and affordable legal representation. And so I really value being here at MICA because we really aim to be that for our clients, right? To be affordable, to be accessible, and to walk with them in their journey.
Solidarity with the immigrant community has been more important and relevant than ever before in the past few years. But we know that whatever the future holds, we will continue to stand with immigrants. And we can only do that through your support.
Our goal is to raise a total of $1,000 through our June Share Plate offering, with half going to MICA and half to support our many life-sustaining ministries. Let us be a generous people.
My name is Angel de Armendi, and I am offering Somos la luz del bosque by Adrian Freedman. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Con el espíritu de los ancestros, todo el día y la noche. Con el espíritu de los ancestros, todo el día y la noche. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Transformamos el dolor, trayendo todo a la luz. Con el espíritu de los ancestros, todo el día y la noche. Con el espíritu de los ancestros, todo el día y la noche. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz del bosque, espíritu de todas edades. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares. Somos la luz divina, sabiduría de los mares.
The movie Frozen 2 hinges on what's been kept hidden. Early in the movie, Elsa hears a strange voice, a siren, calling to her. When Elsa answers this call, the elements, the very elements of nature, seem to revolt against Arendelle, rising up and threatening the idyllic kingdom. The citizens are forced to flee to high ground. It's at that point in the movie when the rolling rock trolls arrive and the troll sage says to Elsa, "I hope you're prepared for what you've done. Angry magical spirits are not for the faint of heart." Anna asks, "Why are they angry? What does all of this have to do with Arendelle?" The wise troll responds, saying, "Let me see what I can see. The past is not what it seems. A wrong demands to be righted. Arendelle is not safe. The truth must be found. Without it, I see no future." So Anna and Elsa, Kristoff and Sven and Olaf journey to the enchanted forest to find the truth, to right the wrong that demands to be righted. In many ways, it's the past they journey to. And there they meet the people of Northuldra and a party of soldiers from Arendelle trapped in the enchanted forest. Frozen, if you'll forgive the pun, frozen in a moment in time. And here is the beginning of the mystery. Why is the enchanted forest shrouded in magic mist, which only Elsa's powers have allowed them to enter? At this point, we already know that there has been a battle between Arendelle and the Northuldrans. Arendelle claiming that Northuldra betrayed them, attacking after being given the gift of a dam. But slowly, as the movie progresses, the truth about the past is revealed. First through a series of ice sculptures, and later revealed to Elsa as she travels to the land of Alto Holland, where the characters from the past begin to move, acting out the true history, revealing the treachery and betrayal that was actually committed by Arendelle. Seeing the movie for the first time, I was struck by this part of the story. For many of us, I think it mirrors our experience of the history of the United States, of learning that history. I attended elementary school in the 1980s, where the stories, the histories we were told were about Christopher Columbus as a heroic explorer innocently mistaking the New World for the East Indies, and the Pilgrims befriended by Indians celebrating the first Thanksgiving together. But gradually, over many decades, the truth was revealed. I remember questioning my 9th grade world history teacher about why our world history class seemed to ignore the history of most of the world. The teacher was unmoved by my observation. I remember reading the book Black Indians, an account of the interactions between indigenous Americans and displaced Africans in the United States, the only book of its kind at the time. All other history books framing history solely through the European American perspective. When I approached my 11th grade American history teacher, just like my world history teacher before him, he also saw no need to incorporate any of this history into his teaching. And it wasn't until I was in seminary that I learned that one of the first uses of the term Thanksgiving in American history happened in 1637, when a feast of Thanksgiving was declared by the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony in celebration of a massacre of several hundred Pequot people who were burned along with their village, young and old, as they observed their annual green corn dance. Native American author Tommy Orange shares that Thanksgivings like this happened everywhere, whenever there were what we have to call successful massacres. So in this way, the discovery in Frozen 2 that the so-called good guys, the people of Arendelle, were actually the ones who carried out a treacherous betrayal, mirrors a discovery many of us have experienced in our own journey of coming to learn the truth about our history as Americans. In his book, Our History is the Future, Standing Rock versus the Dakota Access Pipeline, and the long tradition of indigenous resistance, historian Nick Estes asks the question, how does one relate to the past? He answers it this way. Settler narratives use a linear concept of time to distance themselves from the horrific crimes committed against indigenous peoples and the land. This includes celebrating bogus origin stories like Thanksgiving. But indigenous notions of time, he tells us, consider the present to be structured entirely by our past and by our ancestors. There is no separation between past and present, meaning that an alternative future is also determined by our understanding of our past. Our history is the future. Now in Frozen 2, it's water that reveals the hidden past, teaching us how our history is the future. At first, it's the ice sculptures that reveal clues. And then Elsa and Anna's parents' shipwreck is found that went down in the North Sea, and that reveals more clues. And then Elsa travels across the ocean on a magical water horse to an ice palace, to a mythic river where the treachery and the betrayal is revealed to her. But perhaps the most important use of water to tell this story is the dam itself. In the movie, there's no elaboration on why the dam, a gift from Arendelle to the North Aldrins, is actually an act of treachery, of how We're just told that the dam is robbing the people and the land of health and vitality. Now, I have no idea what inspired the creators of Frozen 2, but the parallels between the dam in Frozen 2 and the history of the Fort Peck Dam, constructed on the Missouri River in Montana in 1933, and the subsequent 1944 Pick-Sloan Plan and Flood Control Act, which built multiple dams, are striking. The parallels are striking. And both of these projects have been sold as examples of progress, while actually robbing the land and by extension indigenous people themselves of health and vitality. As outlined in the book I already mentioned by historian Nick Estes, President Franklin D. Roosevelt authorized the Fort Peck Dam under the 1933 National Industry Recovery Act, which was part of the New Deal. 10,000 jobs were created in the building of, quote, what was at the time of its construction the largest dam on earth. Estes continues telling us that, quote, regional histories celebrate the dam as a historic engineering masterpiece, and it is considered instrumental in pulling Montana and the entire region out of the Great Depression. He then points out what's usually left out of these regional histories: the removal, he tells us, of 350 Dakota, and Assiniboine families on the Fort Peck Indian Reservation, and the flooding of earlier Indian Affairs irrigation projects that had benefited native farmers. The Pick-Sloan Plan was even more devastating, displacing more than 900 native families, 1/3 of their overall population, while flooding over 600,000 acres of land in South Dakota and North Dakota, over half of which, more than 300,000 acres, belonged to the Yankton, Lower Brule, Crow Creek, Cheyenne River, Standing Rock, Rosebud, Santee, and Fort Berthold reservations. According to historian Michael Lawson, the Pick-Sloan dams destroyed more Indian land than any single public works project in the United States history. And U.S. President John F. Kennedy, at a dedication ceremony, spoke of salvation, the triumph of light over darkness, civilization over savagery, saying, "This dam and the rest of the dams on this river, which 30 years ago would have provided only floods and darkness, now provide irrigation and light." In reality, the loss of resource-rich lands that provided an abundant and replenishing amount of beans, wild plums, chokecherry, buffalo berries, wild game, plant medicines, and a bountiful timber supply would impoverish the native peoples of that land, who have to this day yet to be properly recompensed for the flooding of those lands. Now, while the story told in Frozen 2 begins to reinterpret history, sharing a fictional story that mirrors important but often missing parts of the American story, it also doesn't go nearly far enough. The damming of Dakota lands would be fertile soil for the continuation of indigenous resistance movements which stretched through the second half of the 20th century and into the 21st, including Standing Rock's No DAPL resistance throughout the last decade. No organized collective resistance, however, is part of the telling of Frozen 2. And in its place, we have the story of two privileged sisters heroically freeing indigenous people from their colonial oppression. Still, it's something to have part of the story retold more truthfully. And Olaf tells us early in the movie that water has memory. And we are given a story that encourages us to look to our traumatic past as an essential practice in crafting a future for ourselves as a human community. The past is not what it seems, we're told. A wrong demands to be righted. The truth must be found. Without it, there is no future. Or, in the words that Nick Estes used, drawing on the wisdom of the lower Brule Sioux people, his indigenous community, our history is the future. If we look back far enough, we have a shared history. It's a history of colonial expansion at the expense of indigenous peoples and the land itself. Now, if you're a white American, you probably don't spend much time reflecting on this part of your ancestral story. But the colonial conquest of the Americas was preceded by imperial Christianity's colonial conquest of Europe. A violent conquest carried out against those not yet civilized into Christianity by those just recently civilized into Christianity. So whatever your race or ethnicity, somewhere in your past are ancestors who were indigenous to somewhere, the vast majority of whom had their indigenous cultures violently repressed in the name of some conquering force that claimed to be more civilized, whether that happened in Europe or in China or across the forest, plains, and coasts of Turtle Island. Nani Wachoni, water is life. Water has memory. Our history is the future. Colonial conquest has brought us to this moment in our collective history. And just as in Frozen 2, the very elements of earth, water, fire, and air are in revolt against us. The climate crisis devastating people across the globe. Frozen 2 speaks of a fifth spirit, a fifth element. Anna says to Elsa, "You're the fifth spirit." And Elsa responds that the fifth spirit is a bridge. And a bridge has two sides, just as Anna and Elsa are two sisters, just as Arendelle and Northuldra are two peoples. And a bridge is a beautiful image for what this fifth spirit might be. The fifth spirit as bridge between peoples and between humanity and the rest of the more than human world. The fifth spirit as partnership, as community, as love. The fifth spirit is also a bridge between the past and the future. Remember what historian Nick Estes teaches us. Indigenous notions of time consider the present to be structured entirely by our past and by our ancestors. There is no separation between past and present, meaning that an alternative future is also determined by our understanding of our past. Our history is the future. Now, up until this point, I've left out the last part of the troll's advice, in which he says, when one cannot see the future, all one can do is the next right thing. The fifth spirit is also this doing of the next right thing. Even when, especially when things seem the most hopeless. Anna does this in the movie's climactic moment, shouting to the stone giants to wake up, goading them into destroying the dam. These stone giants are our ancestors too, and we need to be willing to destroy the dams that are holding back the waters, the very essence of life as flow. These are the giants of our collective ancestral trauma, waking up to a wrong that demands to be righted, calling out, wake up, get woke, get free. I'm grateful how Frozen 2 begins to help us reveal our hidden past, and grateful for how it shows us there is no future unless we make reparations to right past wrongs. And yet, if you'll allow me, I'd like to offer an alternate ending. I don't want Elsa to swoop in with her magical ice powers to freeze the flood that would wipe out Arendelle, like some technological fix that will painlessly save us from the climate crisis and all the consequences of our past wrongdoing. And then for life to go on pretty much as before, except Anna's queen now instead of Elsa. I just can't believe in that ending. I want it to end less like a Disney film and more like a Studio Ghibli film. In my imagination, this is a Hayao Miyazaki film, and Arendelle is destroyed by the flood. And the final scenes are not of a coronation, but of Anna coming into her own by sifting through the rubble with her people, turning to elders who tell her of another disaster in the not too distant past, and how they survived and rebuilt, took the opportunity to learn from the past and make it new, make it different, as the fifth spirit bridged them into the future, making a future we cannot see by learning from the past and then doing the next right thing, and then the next right thing, and then the next. May it be so, and may we be among those who make it so. Amen, 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 and blessed be. As a community, we tend the spark of our chalice. And as we extinguish our flame each Sunday, may we carry that flame, our commitment to collective liberation and to justice and to compassion, out into the world. I hope that perhaps if you feel like Olaf does at the end of the movie, that perhaps you still don't know what transformation is. That you feel like this forest, this time together, has changed us all. And that we will continue to change as we move together towards healing.
Give it time and we wonder why. Do what we can, laugh and we cry, and we sleep in your dust because we've seen this all before. Culture fades with tears and grace, leaving us stunned, hollow with shame. We have seen this all before. Many tribes of a modern kind, doing brand new work, same spirit by side, joining hearts and hands in ancestral twine, ancestral twine. Many tribes of a modern kind, doing brand new work, same spirit by side, joining hearts and hands in ancestral twine, ancestral twine. And slowly fades, slowly fades, and slowly fades, slowly fades. Emana yo 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 yo, 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 emana yo 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 yo. Spirit bird, she creaks and groans, she knows she has seen the soul before she has seen the soul before she has. Spirit bird, she creaks and groans, she knows she has seen the soul before she has seen the soul before she has. And slowly it fades, slowly it fades, and slowly we fade, slowly it fades. Slowly fades. Emana yo 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 yo, 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 emana yo 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 yo. Emana yo 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 yo, emana yo yo yo. Soldier on, my good countrymen. Keep fighting for your culture now. Keep fighting for your land. I know it's been thousands of years, and I feel you're hurt, and I know it's wrong, and you feel you've been chained and broken and burned, and those beautiful old people, those wise old souls have been ground down for far too long by that spineless man, that greedy man, that heartless man, deceiving man, that government hand, taking blood and land, taking blood and land. Still they can, but you're dreaming, and your warrior spirit lives on, and it is so, so, so strong, in the earth, in the trees, in the rocks, in the water, in your blood, and in the air we breathe. Soldier on, my good countrymen. Keep fighting for your children now, keep fighting for your land. And slowly fades, slowly fades, slowly fades, slowly fades. Emana yo 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 yo, emana yo 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 yo, emana yo 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 yo, emana yo yo yo